I'm Maddie Lee, coming to you from Bankers Life Fieldhouse in Indiana, where the Thunder has just lost to the Pacers 111-85. This was the Thunder's first blowout loss of the season. It was going to happen eventually, but the Pacers are maybe not who you would expect for that first really devastating loss to come to. Not to knock the Pacers at all, but the Thunder has played teams that are expected to go further in the playoffs than Indiana and played them really close. I mean, teams like Houston and teams like Milwaukee, and tonight, nothing pretty much was working for the Thunder. Through 3 quarters, they were 1 of 18 from 3. That's a really brutal 3-point percentage, and they weren't anywhere close to efficient enough in the paint to make up for that. Billy Donovan even talked about how they were trying to take too many difficult shots at the rim, and he did want them to kick out to the perimeter more. And I brought up, well, didn't shoot well from the perimeter, but his stance was, if you're gonna miss open shots from the perimeter, that's part of the game. What you can't do is beat yourself essentially by taking tough shots at the rim and not making those. So offensively, very stagnant. Ties a season low of 85 points. And defensively, yet again, Thunder really let down, especially to start that third quarter when, yes, Thunder had a really rough first half. They started off the game missing their first 5 shots. It was really sloppy, honestly, a little sloppy on both ends, especially sloppy for the Thunder. And then you get to halftime, Thunder's trailing by just 10. And there's a chance, if they come into that third quarter, which they've seen other teams do to them, where they enter that third quarter and really go for a big push, like, for example, the Warriors did to the Thunder when they were down by a lot, made it up by coming out of halftime with a lot of energy. Instead, it was the Pacers that got off to a big start in that third quarter after the Thunder had only scored 17 points in the second. So, really brutal loss on all fronts, offensive, defensive, and not that we give the Thunder many excuses, but there weren't really any excuses in terms of injuries tonight. Yes, the Thunder was losing Terrence Ferguson, who was a very strong defensive player. He was out for personal reasons, did not make the trip out here. Thunder had Steven Adams back and has a lot of guys who can step in at wing. Their wing depth is weird. So they ended up having Abdul Nader and Deontay Burton step in. Sometimes you see them wanting to play Deontay Burton more at the 4. Now that they're playing so many multi-guard lineups, those roles are a little squishy. But those 2 guys came in, ended up pretty much taking up all the rotation minutes while Hamidou Diallo made his first start of the season. So, yes, between those guys stepping in as opposed to having Terrence Ferguson in the starting lineup and Hamidou Diallo with the second unit, you take a little bit of a step back defensively just because Terrence Ferguson and Hamidou Diallo are so solid. But that doesn't nearly begin to explain the Thunder's struggles tonight. So, as Chris Paul said, just chalk it up and move on to the next. And for the Thunder, the next is on Friday at home. So they've got a few days to mull this over and move on. And they're playing the 76ers on Friday.